Guys, we are here with Laura Davidson, founder of Sweat City app. Laura, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, so you started your app a few years ago. You've decided to change the name, come up with Sweat City. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so originally we launched it was called Whistle App. And, to be honest, I didn't really love the name from the get-go, but part of the team that I had and everything, we decided to settle on something and move forward. And with the amount of change and growth that I've had and experience with myself over the last couple of years and quitting my full-time job and getting into the app business full-time, which I'm sure we'll dive into, it felt appropriate to rebrand and to make it a little bit more relatable to who I am today.
All right, so Laura, tell us a little bit about the app and what it does.
So sure thing. So Sweat City app is essentially a fitness concierge service in the palm of your hands. So we went after three key features to allow our users to get that full experience of fitness. So we allow you to connect one-on-one with people that are looking for a workout partner. So that's swiping and matching feature that's in the application. The second feature is a map that shows you local businesses in your area. So anything from gyms and studios to food, apparel, wellness stores, supplement stores, basically where to go and what to do in your city and how to live that healthy life. And the third piece is connecting you with local experts. So be it your ability to find local trainers, nutritionists, sports medicine doctors. We're adding in a mental wellness category as well to connect that sort of mental health piece into fitness, which I think is really important.
Yeah, so why Sweat City? Give us a little story on that.
So in 2017, January 2017, I started my personal fitness blog called My Sweat Story.
Yeah.
And basically started that to publicly commit myself to a 3-month workout ebook and transformation, if you will. I was sick and tired of doing that sort of yo-yo workout, health and wellness lifestyle where I'd work out for a bit and then I'd fall off and then I would, go and live unhealthy and then come back and I wanted to commit to something. So I started this personal blog just to talk about my struggles and keep myself accountable, that obviously in conjunction with Instagram. So then after, now that's been about a year and a half and I just felt that the app needed a rebrand as well. And we gave it a whole new name. So now it's called Sweat City. It kind of goes with my sweat story and kind of becoming this little bit of a sweat company or so.
And do you have a backstory with fitness? Are you really big into fitness yourself? Give us a little bit about that.
I was always athletic growing up. I always played sports. I was definitely into fitness in that sense, not so much into actually lifting weights and things like that. But as I've gotten older and, things become a little harder, as hangovers last a little longer, you realize that health and wellness is a huge and driving factor and important piece of life. And so for me, that was more or less the reason. And I just wanted to be healthier and look better and all of those sort of key things.
Yeah, and how's the feedback been so far from the people using the app?
Everything from the app has been great, from that as well as my personal channel and Instagram and my blog. I've reached a lot of women, which is really cool, and I just know that from seeing my audience change and everything like that through social media. But it's just been great to connect with so many more people. I've learned so much about the fitness industry in Toronto, which is obviously where I live. So it's been amazing to grow in that sense and really connect with and see how much is actually available to you.
Are you the sole owner of Sweat City, or?
I am. I'm the sole founder. Yeah.
Wow.
I've been doing the whole thing myself and financially supporting it myself, everything so far. So it's been a bit of a grind, but I think that's part of the whole startup culture and what it has to be.
Right. And how many people do you have working for you now?
Right now we have 2 employees, 2 front-end back-end developers. Right. And then I do have some partners that started with me from the very beginning, and they sort of helped me build the app because I had no tech experience and background, so I needed a little bit of help there, and they're still with me today, which is great.
Nice. And tell us about, you're going to be putting on an event in Toronto coming up?
Yeah, so when we do the full launch of the new features, so some of the features that we explained at the beginning aren't live yet, but they'll be coming out in a couple weeks. So once those roll out, then I want to do a full media launch event in the city. Wow.
And you already have, from your first initial app, 10,000 users?
Yeah, so we have just over almost at 11,000 downloads now.
Wow.
So, working on reconnecting with a lot of those users and giving them more to work with and really showing them how to highlight their fitness experience in their cities.
So Laura, tell us a little bit about you and your story.
So for me, it all sort of goes back to, I guess, my first real full-time job. So I started working for Kevin O'Leary, who was on Shark Tank and Dragon's Den, or was on Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
Big entrepreneur, venture capital, right? So I never looked at myself as an entrepreneur or somebody who had that mentality. And I feel that from working with him, it kind of exposed me to the lifestyle you can create for yourself. Working your own hours, being your own boss, and that was very attractive to me as I'm a bit controlling and I don't really like to be told what to do. So I think that's kind of where it all started for me, and that got that little taste, and that's where the integration of, I would say, fitness and business kind of came together, and starting an app, which at the time was apps were just becoming a big thing. Instagram had just started, all that good stuff. So I think that's kind of where those two sort of met together and sort of started from there.
Nice. What was it like working with Kevin?
It was great. He was an awesome boss. He was very easy to learn from, and basically gave you a lot of your own control. Here's what needs to be done, just get it done. I don't really care how you do it, but more results driven. So I think that was a great way to learn. Nice. As well.
What kind of business is Kevin that you were working with Kevin? What was he doing?
So I managed all of his finances and accounting.
Okay.
So I did everything from the Dragon's Den and Shark Tank deals to managing his personal finances, all of the business accounts, his investments, children trust, family trust. He had his wine label, his art, books, tons of stuff. So
wow. Yeah. What was his main business, Kevin? What would you say?
Just venture capital and entrepreneurship. He was very good at selling himself, I would say, is his sort of bread and butter, right? So nice. He had O'Leary Funds at the time, which was his financial investment company, and then he had his artwork, his book. He did speaking engagements, wow. And he was the brand, right?
Wow,
so,
that's an exciting person to work for sure.
Yeah, it was really cool. And we had a very small team in Toronto, so it was a really startup culture sort of vibe, just a very casual office, and it was very fun. We had a row of guitars hanging on the wall, all his art in the office as well. It was a super fun time.
Did he try to get you to stay? Use his persuasiveness to get you to stay?
He did, yeah. Well, I stayed for quite a while, so I started building the app while I was working full time.
Right.
So I felt very unfulfilled about halfway through my 7 years there. I learned, I think, what I felt I could have learned in the finance side of things, and I don't think I really had the passion for it that I thought I did coming out of school. And I, secretly started working on my own business on, company time, which I think was a really smart thing to do for myself. So that was a little bit of a piece there, but it was great. So just to get things started and learn what you have and get your feet wet and that sort of thing.
Nice. Do you think if Kevin approached you with some money and said he wanted to be part of the app as an investor and partner, you'd bring him in?
Well, we actually had a discussion about that when I was leaving. He kind of dangled that in front of me to get me to stay, and I did stay longer than I would have if that offer wasn't there, and then that offer never really fell through. He obviously wanted too much, and I don't think he was really invested in what I was doing. He was more invested in me staying with him, so I think it was a little too selfish, but that deal did come up, yeah, so nice. Kind of interesting.
Nice. So what's new and exciting for Sweat City coming up? Tell us about what's some new exciting things people should know about?
We're going to be launching in Toronto first. It's kind of my hometown, so bread and butter city there, and most of my fitness connections and everything are there, but we're looking to grow and launch new Sweat Cities piece by piece after that. We're going to kick events back up, so we're going to start that with a launch event in the city, and then I used to do some events when it was Whistle app, and if you had the app, you could come and do a free workout at whatever gym we would partner with. So it was a great way to connect with your community and try something new. So I'd like to fire those back up again and really get people involved in seeing how they can sweat in their city.
Nice. So you have a sponsorship with Adidas, right?
Yes. So I'm a brand ambassador with Adidas Canada.
Cool. How did you manage to get that?
That all happened, honestly, very organically through social media. We're coming up on about a year now from when that started. And it has to do with a personal fitness blog, My Sweat Story, that I launched last year. And was invited to a couple different events downtown Toronto with the brand. And then they asked me to come out to Wanderlust in Tremblant last year. And I said, absolutely, went out for the 4 days. And I didn't realize it at the time, but that was more or less an audition to be a part of the brand. Wow. And from there, things sort of took off, and we, signed our contracts, and here we are.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, did you have any questions for myself or Nutrabolics at all?
I would definitely. I would say, what is the biggest piece of advice you can give to a young entrepreneur?
Don't give up.
was never going to.
Focus on your passion, and everybody's going to have an opinion, and everybody's going to have their own, take their opinion, whether it's good, bad, but follow your heart, follow your passion. If you believe in it, you get passionate about it, other people will get passionate about it. Like that's for me. When I was starting out, I was really super passionate. And everybody said, oh no, like you're starting a supplement company, like there's so many supplement companies. Who's gonna buy your products? Like why is somebody, and when I first went out there, everybody said no. Like, I mean, I would go out there, no, right? But I just kept coming back, kept being persistent, kept believing in the brand, kept being, I think nowadays having this like connection is huge. So like not just being persistent on like say an email, but like, actually building that persistence through building the relationships, through building the connection, right? It's like, that's a key factor. But I think now in this day and age, my advice now is try to do more for people than they do for you. Like whenever somebody does something for me, like whatever it may be, I always try to do even more for them.
Right.
That's really my motto is, it's just, I feel like it just comes back, it just comes back to you at some point. And if you're passionate, people are going to feel it. People love passion. People love, so if someone says to you something, like take it with a grain of salt. But, I mean, it's like my mom, she's always got an opinion, like you don't have to ask for her opinion. Like you can just you just walk in and it's like, Jayson, like this is what, and I love her. Right. But I also go to the smartest people I know for advice. So like I wouldn't, if I'm coming to you for advice, it's because, hey, like I think you're super smart and I want to ask you something. But I try to like be very, very selective on the questions I ask to different people. I notice a lot of people, they just like to bounce ideas off of whoever's like close to them. It's like I always use this example. It's like the girl who asks her girlfriend who, keeps having bad relationships what she should do. Hey, what should I do? Right? You got to go to the smartest person Like, so if it's, and that's who I feed myself with.
Got it.
Do you have any tips for people out there on how to perform? Like, what do you do to perform? What do you do to get in the mindset of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this happen? Give us a little bit about that.
Definitely. There's definitely a couple of things. So I would say the biggest piece in terms of how I measure my performance is, was I or am I better than I was yesterday? In my opinion, if you're not growing and moving forward or learning from even a mistake, a lesson, or even from something successful, then you aren't moving forward. So that's the biggest piece. And then not setting yourself up for failure, I think, is the biggest thing that I've learned in fitness, in business, everything like that. So if you don't prepare, you're only prepared to fail, more or less. So starting the morning, I like to start it with a simple routine. I always, put the kettle on and do hot water and lemon, go through my emails, get all that kind of those responses out of the way, focus on your day, hit that to-do list, make sure you schedule in your gym time, either connecting with friends that are going to keep you accountable or having that trainer, whoever it is, or downloading the app and matching with your perfect buddy to find someone in your city, that sort of thing. But stay on track. I always like to go over my to-do list at the end of the day as well and see what I missed. And tracking things throughout the week. So then looking at something at the bigger picture. So this month, maybe this was my goal. Did I hit it? If not, why? And then reevaluating and making sure, like I said at the beginning, being better than you were yesterday.
Nice. And, you got a lot of experts and different fitness people. Like, has it been hard to get these people, with, your app? And tell us a little bit about these people and, give us a background.
So far, it hasn't been hard, per se, because of the connections in the network that grew so naturally for me when I started to involve myself in the fitness industry in Toronto. That being said, we haven't grown out to other cities yet, where I obviously don't live and don't necessarily have those personal connections. So I'm sure that will be a little more challenging. But I feel that once we have a bit more of a foundation and more of a growth strategy and plan, we will figure that out, obviously. But the experts that we do have on it. So I want top level trainers, nutritionists, things like that. I don't want your, cut of the mill, good life personal trainer that maybe a lot of people don't have the best experience with on the platform. I want someone that's a coach that really treats you and can tailor your training to who you are. Same on the nutrition side and then sports medicine side. So the whole point of the app is to clean up more or less the confusion I think that can be around fitness. So showing you the actual healthy spots of where to go, the cool studios that you may not know that are nearby that aren't just your typical weightlifting gym. And then again, on the expert side, introducing you to those experts and trainers that are so good that have a business of people that they've taught below them as well, so that you can really access everything.
And do you have like a specific sort of target market that you're after, or who would you say your customer, what they look like?
So we actually have a pretty vast demographic of who our users are and what we reach, but I would say for the most part we fall between the ages of 25 to 35, with about a 50-50 female to male split. So it's actually quite interesting there, but we do have a few older people on the platform and that have interest in it, as well as our sort of 18 to 24 range as well.
Nice. And I mean, are you big on using social media to get out there? I mean, tell us about your marketing.
Absolutely. So I have my personal account, Miss Laura Davidson, that I obviously talk about a lot of my personal growth. I do a lot of brand partnerships on there, content creation, all that good stuff, and obviously always bring it back to fitness and talk about the app. And then the app itself has its own account at Sweat City app, and it's got about 12,000 or so followers. So it's a great way to connect with our users in that sense, and obviously reach new markets and connect with more people worldwide.
Right. And I mean, just a quick question. I mean, I know, out there's all these different social media platforms. I mean, what are you mainly using to promote to get your clients? Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? What's your main?
It's definitely Instagram. I find that kind of creates the most connection with people, being able to really see the face of the person behind the business, and stories, especially watching those video clips. People love those.
Right.
And I think it's a great way to engage with people and show them what you're doing and how you're actually living and going about your day.
So would you say that you get a lot of your new customers from people watching your story and then going to your website, would it be, or what?
I think it definitely helps. Obviously growing my personal page will only benefit my business at the end of the day. But I know a lot of our users do come from, organic growth and word of mouth as well. The events that we used to do in the city were very successful too. Just getting exposure, getting people talking about it. We also want to provide a lot of sort of discounts and more or less the freebies, if you will. So I do a lot of brand partnerships, and I get a lot of discount codes through my collaborations, and I want to give those back to our users and give them another way to explore things like HelloFresh, getting 3 free plates with your food. So that's another sort of tidbit that we're going to be working into the platform as well, and just really show people and give them the chance to try something new.
Is there some adversity or something that's happened to you since you started this business that really stands out for you? Maybe you were, had a really long day, and the last phone call on the day you broke through and big things happened. Has there been something on your journey that you could talk about, to give people out there that are, in business, and they're having a tough time making it in their startup? And can you give us something on that?
Well, I'll definitely say that startup culture and starting your own business, it is all about sacrifice. So, financially, I've had to sacrifice a lot. Paying for app development and running this business all by myself has been challenging. It's part of the reason why I kept my full-time job as long as I did, to financially support both sides. It's a strain on your relationships for sure. At one point, the past relationship that I was in, I bought a house with that person and thought that was sort of going to be like the next step, rest of my life. And by starting this business and changing my life on such a emotional level through fitness, it changed who I was. And that relationship ended because it was no longer a fit for me. So I think struggle and sacrifice is going to come no matter what. It's just a matter of what you take from it, learn from it, and push through and push forward with that. And I think there's beauty on the other side as long as you stay true to who you are and learn from what the sacrifice is teaching you.
Did you have any sort of ideas, feedback, anything you wanted at all to talk about?
I would say that if you feel like you are meant to be doing something else, do it. It's never too late to start something, to try something new. I turned 30 this year, and I just left a job of 7 years. Is that scary? Yes, but for anyone out there who's maybe listening or watching this, if you feel like there's something you should be saying or doing and you're not doing it, get up and do it.
Great. Awesome. I like that. All right. Well, thanks so much, Laura, for being here. We really appreciate it, honestly.
It was awesome.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay.